Hey everyone, my name is Jerry, and on this channel we talk about RVs, off-road driving, and travel. Today I'd like to do a review of this tire pressure monitor system. I'm ready to go, so let's get started. So let's talk a little bit about what a tire pressure monitoring system is and what it does. On this system there are sensors that go on each individual tire, and that can be on the RV, your trailer, your car, your entire rig. It measures the pressure and the temperature of that particular tire, and that's beneficial because if you were to develop a leak or if you have a tire that immediately rises in temperature, you would have some warning of that so that you could pull over safely and deal with that, as opposed to a blowout. And I've seen some pretty scary videos on the internet of people getting blowouts and rolling an RV in the ditch. I mean, it's a total loss and could be a fatal thing. So my hope with this is to simply avert those tragic accidents, and maybe even if a tire does blow out and it's not a problem, there are times when the tire, when it comes apart, will damage the RV. So I'm hoping to avoid all that. What I have here is the tire pressure monitoring system from EezTire for 10 tires. And I just wanted to note that I did not get this for free. I paid retail for this. So I'm going to produce an honest review. I've laid out the sensors according to the diagram in the manual, with these two being the steer on the RV, the duals, and in this case my trailer. Now I've already programmed this once to kind of learn how to do that so that I can show you. So I'm going to reset this to the factory default. You hold the set button and you turn the monitor on. There's my original preset, and now we're back to the factory set. So it's asking if I want PSI or bar, and you can scroll through that with the plus or the minus, and then hit set when you've chosen that. It's now asking for Celsius or Fahrenheit. I'm going to choose Fahrenheit and choose set. Now it's asking for what I want to set the high pressure to, and I'm just going to use the factory defaults for this demonstration, but you can change this to whatever you want. So I can run that down to 170 for the steers, hit set, and now it's asking for the low pressure. The factory default setting is at 35, but I can up that to whatever I want. I'm just going to set that to 50, and you hit set, and then you're going to cycle through all of the tires that are on here. Even if you don't have those, you still need to go through those. So I'm just going to choose the factory defaults on all of these. Once you've cycled through all of those, you'll be back to the PSI setting. If you like what those settings are, you press and hold the set button for, I believe it's 6 seconds, and then you can see that it's saved all that. This is the configuration that I originally had set up on the device when I had programmed the sensors, but we're going to go ahead and just show you how to do that. You'll press and hold the code, and you'll see all the tires light up, and this is a number that represents the sensor, the one that you would screw on the tire. So to set that, you would select the indicator here, and that's the passenger side steer. Set that right next to here, press the code button, and then it should find it. Now if it comes up with the LF error, then the instructions say to shake the sensor to wake it up, and then press the code again. Ultimately though, if it doesn't find the sensor, it instructs you to put the sensor on the vehicle, which by the way is the method that is also outlined as the first method is installing the sensors in their locations. So I've got the first one done. I would use in this case the plus to move over to the driver's side steer, take the one that's labeled for that, set it there, hit the code, and then it's found it. And so one will cycle through in all of the positions that you have sensors for. and then it will remember that. So once you've completed all of that, you hold the code button for 6 seconds. Once you've done that, now it's going to cycle through all of the positions and tell us what that is. Now it did have an alarm, which I've canceled because it, of course, doesn't have any pressure there. So to install the sensor, you would simply start screwing it on here. And because of the anti-theft device on there, you need this little tool to get it to go. So we put that tool on there, and then we're able to go ahead and screw this on here. And then we want it, whoops, that popped off. We want it relatively tight there. So the anti-theft is this little bit, so you can't just unscrew it. Now, what I learned though, looking at that, is if you unscrew this, that reveals the actual sensor, which you can then unscrew. So in terms of the anti-theft, just be aware that if somebody happens to know about these sensors, then they're going to be able to easily get these apart because they know that they just have to unscrew this lid. However, for the individual that doesn't know, they're going to come up and spin that and not be able to remove that, and they may not know to undo that. So it requires the tool to get that nice and tight, or as you can see here, I can just unscrew these bits and then screw that on tight and then put that back together. So once you get that installed, you turn on your device, and you can see it's flashing in the passenger front position and then moving down to the second. Now, so it will scroll through all of these positions. According to the instructions, it does take a couple minutes for the sensors to sync up once it's been turned on initially. And I can actually go back, scroll through here, and go back to that first position, and it's not found. Not found itself, but I don't foresee that being a problem, as I'm going to start the coach up. It's going to idle for several minutes to bring up the air and warm up. So as long as this does start up, then I'm okay with that. You'll also notice that if I wave my hand in front of that, then it does light up. According to the instructions, if it's plugged into power all the time, it will stay lit. The interesting thing is that this is on battery, and you can see here is a charge port for USB. This will be nice to have so that I won't have to have another cord on my dash running across. And then you can see the battery indicator down here at the bottom. So I've got my sensor on. We still haven't, let me go back here, we still haven't, it still hasn't synced up yet. When it does, it will display the pressure here and then the tire temperature over here. Now I've chosen to put mine on the left side of the driver using the supplied suction cup. I think it'll be out of the way and easier for me to read. Once you turn the unit on, it will scroll through all the positions and look for the sensors and display the pressure and temperature of those sensors. According to the instruction manual, it can take up to 5 minutes for some of those sensors to find their location. We see that it found the passenger side front, but it's still searching for the driver side front. So, final thoughts. It wasn't too terribly hard to program. The display looks like it's going to be visible from the driver's seat. I might decide at a later date to hook the device up to some permanent power, or maybe the cigarette lighter plug that's supplied. This as opposed to the battery that's in the unit itself. I did like the idea that the sensors have user replaceable batteries for them, so that they don't have to be sent back in to the factory for replacement. And I like the idea of the anti-theft, although the casual thief will probably give those things a spin, those sensors a spin, and then walk away. Anybody in the know or anybody that's determined will, of course, take those. And really, honestly, when we're talking about a rubber valve stem, if that's what you've got, and I've got those on my trailer, they can just take a knife. If they're determined to steal them, they can just take a knife and cut it off and figure it out later. So, I don't know. There it is. So I would recommend this. I'm looking forward to that peace of mind of knowing that the temperatures and the tire pressures are on the entire coach, as well as my trailer, which I can't see except in my rear view camera. I'm looking forward to that peace of mind, and I'd love for you guys to subscribe, click the alert button so you know when I post new videos, and be sure you comment below as far as this install, this video, what you liked, what you might like to see in the future, and I'll see you out there.